Collins running out of real estate. Heads back upfield. 25 to the 30. The 35 to 40. The 45 to 50. He has only Kovalevsky to beat. Gets through him. The 10 and touchdown for Collins.
Duarte looks to throw. He fires toward the goal line. And that is caught by Kadeem Wilson for a game-winning Gators touchdown.
Back on in, here's Yoxon. Yoxon to the backhand, trying to go to the front, makes the move and shot, and he scores!
Rowan heading for the touchpad with the lead, and the Props will take the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
He sends one on goal and he scores! Jonah Popre scores for the second time tonight.
And it is a power play goal. The pressure is there. Wilson putting it in the end zone. It is up for grabs. Did someone come down with it? No, incomplete. The Pharaohs are the 2022 EFA champions.
Live from Great Kills Little League in Staten Island, New York, the PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into coverage of the 2023 New York State Little League Baseball Championship. Tonight, we continue our final day of pool play with the last of 12 pool play matchups as Cornwall Little League takes on Plainview Little League. Both teams are still alive, looking for a berth in the semifinal round, as are the other two teams in this pool. My name is Joe Foreman. Once again, I'm joined by my broadcast partner, Nick Bavona. And Nick, all four teams in this pool are still alive. In fact, one has already punched their ticket to the semifinal. South Shore Little League, a perfect 3-0 in pool play, winning all three of their games via the mercy rule.
And they've done it with offense and pitching in those games, Joe. Only allowing 2 runs in the 3 games that they played in this tournament. They scored 13 runs today. They scored 13 runs in their last game, 11 on their first game. Overall, a great job by South Shore and making an emphatic statement now going to the semifinal on Friday. They will play Massapequa Coast. The winner of this game potentially could be playing EGC in the semifinal, but there are a lot of scenarios we have to get into, Joe.
There certainly are, and in all likelihood, a team playing in this game will face EGC. Let's take a look at the pool play standings. There you see them on your screen, updated as of our last game here at Great Kills. The standings there are also updated to include all of the action at South Shore earlier in the day. There you see on your screen the final standings in pool play. In the other pool, EGC takes the top spot. They go 3-0, allowing just 8 runs. Here in our pool, South Shore allowing only 2 runs in 3 games. What a performance by them, both offensively and on the mound through their first 3 games.
And I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe, but you have to think about it. For Massapequa Coast, it's going to be a tough matchup for them going into tomorrow's game against South Shore. Essentially, Joe, 2 of the favorites to win this entire tournament playing in a semifinal game kind of has championship type of vibes going into that one tomorrow, so that should be a really fun game to watch.
South Shore is in 3-0, only 2 runs allowed. The bottom 3 teams on the left side of your screen, all of those teams are still alive. So there you see Plainview 1-1. Right now, they're in second. If they win, they will earn themselves a spot in the semifinal round. Nice and simple. As we mentioned before, they can still get in with a loss with other circumstances surrounding that. There was also a possibility entering the night that 3 teams could finish 2-1. That possibility is now gone as South Shore defeated Maine Endwell. As we said earlier, South Shore's spot never really in much jeopardy. And after Saratoga Springs fell behind big in their game earlier today against EGC, Massapequa Coast was able to breathe easy. They needed a big game going against Saratoga Springs, and of course needed Saratoga Springs to lose. They got that. So Massapequa Coast moves on. They didn't have to sweat it much earlier in the day, and of course EGC not losing didn't have to sweat it. We said it. Tomorrow we open with South Shore against Massapequa Coast. The question is, who will face EGC? Nick, what does Cornwall have to do to pick up their first win in pool play? It seemed so improbable on Tuesday night they'd be in this position.
You would have never thought after Tuesday that they'd be in this scenario, but here we are. I think it's simple. You need to be aware of the situation in this game. You want to score runs, obviously, but you need to make sure that you're not allowing those runs because of the scenarios that we have already mentioned. Cornwall has to win by more than 4, and they have to allow less than 6. Anything above 6, and it creates a whole different tiebreaker scenario. Cornwall just needs to make sure that they can capitalize and get the runs when they need them the most. Can't leave runners in scoring position. Got to make sure you get quality outs in the field when you're pitching. Overall, Cornwall just needs an A-plus game here tonight, Joe, and they surprisingly could make it to the semifinal by EGC.
There's more than just the result of this game that we need to be on the lookout for tonight. Runs allowed, going to be a huge part of things, unless, of course, Plainview comes away with the win. Now, we talked about what Cornwall has to do. What does Plainview have to do? Things went so poorly in Game 1. They went that much better in the second game as they picked up a convincing win over Maine Endwell. What did you see that you liked from Plainview during that game?
I think Plainview, they saw what happened in Game 1 against South Shore. And, through the first 3 innings of that game, Joe, against South Shore, they looked really good pitching-wise. Unfortunately for them, the game got away from them in the 4th inning. South Shore went on to score 10 runs in that 4th, won the game in the 5th inning. I think for Plainview, the moral for them is they're going to also need some good pitching. It's simple for them. You win, you're in the playoffs, and you move on to the semifinals while also maintaining the runs allowed in that situation. At the end of the day, these two teams just need to know that they need strong pitching in this game. But for Cornwall, they got to score runs. They know they have to win by a certain amount of runs. It's not going to come easy, though. These two teams know what's at stake. It should be a good one.
We've said it several times already. Plainview theoretically could qualify for the semifinals with a loss, but effectively, this is a must-win game for both teams. Plainview is not going to play it risky and try and manage runs allowed in a loss. So if you're Plainview, if you're Cornwall, specifically Plainview, who could theoretically move on with a loss, if you're Plainview, how do you manage your pitching in this game? You know you probably need to win to move on. Could move on with a loss, but do you burn all of your options pitching today? You have a matchup looming against an EGC team that has swung the bats very well so far in this tournament.
I think it's tough because we saw Brandon Eisenstein in the first game of this pool play against South Shore, and he looked really good in that game. Problem for Eisenstein was his pitch count got up, and he got taken out in the 4th inning, which is the inning that South Shore started to score all their runs. Plainview will need a good outing out of Eisenstein to get them through quality innings. But you're right. You want to also have some pitching in case you move on to the semifinals. It's a tough scenario, but it's a do-or-die game. I think you have to go out, use all your best options, because you want to be in that semifinal. This essentially is the last game for one of these two teams, or potentially both of these teams. So they're going to want to go out. These kids are going to want to play and make a big impact in this game. I'm curious to see how it all plays out, though.
Well, Nick, credit to Plainview manager Ian Bugatti. In the first game of this pool play, he removed Eisenstein earlier than we thought he would, and his team had a lead. We were wondering at the time why he chose to do that. We are seeing exactly why he chose to do that here tonight. Eisenstein will get the start, and perhaps Plainview is going to look for an extended outing from him. If he could give them 4, 5, maybe even 6 innings if they're lucky, that would be huge. And Cornwall has only scored a couple of runs in each of their games, or 2 runs, I should say, in 2 games, not 2 runs in each game. They need to win by double that tonight. Credit to the chat for that piece of information. We will step aside now and take a quick break. Starting lineup introductions are complete. The national anthem is about to be played. We'll be right back with first pitch.
Attention local businesses and professionals. Isn't it time to elevate your game? Now you can advertise your business or product on PDF Sports Network. Your ad will appear on all of our broadcasts, including this one. Don't have a commercial? We'll make one for you, absolutely free. What better way to showcase your product and brand while supporting the best local sports, teams, and leagues? Call now at 732-723-8189 or visit us at pdfsportsnet.com.
So Hunter Lott To the mound for Cornwall, left-hander. We saw him the other night. And he will pitch for the second time in 3 days. Micah Farber, the first batter he will face. Farber was 2 for 3 the other night against Maine Endwell. That's taken outside. Check that. 1 for 3. Doubled in his final at-bat. That came in the 5th inning. It was a big inning in the 5th for Plainview the other night against Maine Endwell.
In Plainview, we talked about they need that win against Maine Endwell after what happened in their first game against South Shore. That was a big-time win to get back into the standings and now give themselves an opportunity tonight to make it to the semis.
That's hit to the mound. Throw to first a bit low, but in time. And Farber is retired to open the game.
Cornwall will need to do that the rest of the way. Need some good pitching, but will also need their offense to be big if they're going to have a chance.
Well, I said it before, Nick. Cornwall has scored just 2 runs in the 2 games. And they are in a position where they need to score quite a few tonight. They have to win by several runs. And once again, that one hit toward the mound and up the middle. Caesar got there, but he had no play at first. And it's a 1-out single for Evan Frangus.
Slow roller up the middle right there for Frangus as he gets the first hit of this game. It gives Plainview an early runner on first with 1 away.
Frangus had doubles in each of his last 2 at-bats on Tuesday night. That base hit will bring up Luke Kakuza. He takes a strike. Kakuza singled 3 times in Tuesday night's game. Couple of RBIs in that one. And he chased that pitch upstairs as he falls behind 0-2.
All eyes here on tonight at Great Kills. 3 teams looking to get to the semifinal.
And the 0-2 misses down and away. One ball and 2 strikes the count on the Plainview left fielder.
Fouls that one off to keep the count 1-2.
Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. With a long look in. And that misses outside. We spoke about it earlier, Nick. We didn't see that many lengthy at-bats in the first game. That's something we saw quite a bit on the first day you and I were here. And now we have a full count that draws a lot of groans from the spectators.
Cornwall faithful was not happy about that one. But you spoke about the short at-bats we had in the first game. That's kind of why the game went that quickly, as there's a strikeout right there to record the second out of the inning.
Well, if the at-bat ends in a strikeout, you'll take it as a pitcher. But we said it already. You have to keep in mind how many pitchers you spend in this game, as your options will undoubtedly become much more limited the next couple of days if you have to go through a lot of pitching tonight. But if you're Cornwall, you don't have a choice.
It kind of feels like an MLB with the wild card game, where, yes, you want to use as your best players, but at the same time, you also have to look ahead and say, listen, we want to win, but we have this other team coming up potentially if we do win this game. So as much as you would want to use these guys, you have to second guess and think to yourself, do we maybe do that, or do we just go with a different direction?
Noah Fernandez at the plate here, and he takes a called strike on the outside corner. Count 1-2. Fernandez had 3 singles on Tuesday night. And he swings and misses here for strike 3. So Hunter Lott strikes out a pair in the opening half inning. Home half of the first coming up from Great Kills. No score. Joe Foreman and Nick Bavona back with you here from Great Kills Little League. This is PDF Sports Network coverage of the 2023 New York State Little League Baseball Championship. Final game of pool play here tonight on Staten Island. No score. Headed to the bottom half of inning number 1 in a game that Cornwall must win and that Plainview may need to win depending on run ratio. We'll talk more about that later. We've spoken about it ad nauseum at this point. But Nick, top half of the first inning, good effort on the mound from Hunter Lant. Did not allow a run. Worked around a dribbler that went for a single. And now Brandon Eisenstein will take the mound, and I'll get you the Cornwall lineup that he will face. Very quickly leading off and playing second base, Finn Merrill. Batting second, the catcher Tyler Moss. Batting third, the shortstop Sage Caesar. In the cleanup spot is the pitcher Hunter Lant. Batting fifth is the third baseman Kieran Purcell. Brandon Dwyer, the right fielder, bats sixth. Nate Van Dam, the center fielder, bats seventh. As that one sliced down the right field line, but foul. And into the spectator area. Sterling Hayes, extra hitter, bats eighth. Michael Cosgrove, the first baseman, bats ninth. The next three hitters are all extra hitters, 10, 11, and 12. Luke Van Sickle, TJ Santiago, Michael Cressman, and batting 13th is the left fielder, Ryan Ruhan.
And this offense knows what they need to do. It's been a rough tournament already for them, Joe, but that could all be forgotten if they're able to get some offense here tonight and win by at least 4 runs.
Well, the other night, Cornwall was without a hit entering the fifth, and I did what I do.
You did what you did.
Though I still insist that the viewers in the chat did it first.
So you're 2 for 3.
Well, the chat would argue I'm 3 for 3. So if we end up in that situation again, in my estimation, I have spoken 2 no-hitters out of existence.
The problem is, Joe, I was a part of that chat on Tuesday, so I kind of have to agree with them. You might be 3 for 3.
I had a feeling you might agree with them. Just a hunch.
I've seen it too often, that's why.
Yeah. Let's just say Monday night wasn't the first time.
No.
As time was called at the plate.
Crazy to think, Joe, the last game of this pool play, we are in game 12 of 12 now, 2 games away from finally getting to the championship.
Comes the 1-2. And that misses low. The winner, I should say, the second place finisher in this pool will take on East Greenbush Castleton tomorrow as time is called again by Merrill. That game second tomorrow.
East Greenbush Castleton, a good tournament for them as well. 3-0, only allowing those 8 runs in total. So they also had themselves a pretty good tournament.
And there's a breaking ball that missed high. Count now full. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and you can't ask for much more from your leadoff hitter.
If you're Cornwall, this is what you have to do in this game. You're going to have to force Eisenstein to get up in the pitch count. That's what South Shore did in their win on Monday.
And I was right initially, Nick. We do get started at 10 o'clock tomorrow. That's hit to second. Throw to first low, but it is handled by Frangus, and there's one away.
Good productive first out, though, for Cornwall as they try to force the pitch count up on Eisenstein.
Well, we saw what happened when Eisenstein was forced out of the game on Monday. South Shore erupted, but South Shore has erupted in all 3 of their games.
Correct.
However, when Plainview went to the bullpen on Tuesday, they got very good results.
Very much a different result. So that's definitely a big thing for Plainview in this game.
That pitch is in for a called strike, and you have to think that right now, the way South Shore swung the bats, the team that comes out of their pool in second place, probably pleased that they won't have to play them.
Right.
Or do you think perhaps having seen that pitching already, it could be a little bit of an advantage to play a team a second time? They've seen your pitching twice, too.
Right. I think, when it comes to baseball, any given game, any team can win. I know first time around, maybe it doesn't go your way, but you learn from those mistakes in your first time action, and you get an opportunity again. So there's a great opportunity for some of these teams potentially to play a team they've already lost to and get revenge.
Pitch on its way, and that misses down and away. Tyler Moss struck out twice on Tuesday night against South Shore. The man on deck, Sage Caesar, had the only hit for Cornwall in that game. That misses low. Now, when these players have achieved this level of status, playing as one of the best 8 teams in New York, do they earn the right to be called the man on deck, or is it the young man on deck?
I was not prepared for that question.
I think it's fair to say if you hit a walk-off grand slam, you're the man for one day. Vincenzo Novello knows what that feels like.
2 grand slams in this tournament.
Well, they've hit 3.
They've hit 3 as a team.
Lanny, Novello, and McLean for South Shore, all with grand slams. Right. Here comes a payoff pitch. That's it back to the mound. Eisenstein didn't field it cleanly, but he recovers to make the throw in time. And Cornwall does not like that call.
That was a very close play at first base. For Cornwall, just unfortunately, they're not able to get the call there. There's now 2 away.
Sage Caesar will be the batter. And again, this is a wide shot. Nick and I don't have a great look at it, but at home, the view is a bit better.
I'll get a look at it after this next pitch.
All right, let's shift the camera back to pitcher batter as the first pitch to Sage Caesar is on its way, and that misses for ball 1.
Here's the second look.
Bit of a video glitch there. Not sure what that was.
Just a little bit of it.
I wonder if that came over the live stream. Also, Nick, take our wide shot and move it slightly pointed more to the left. Very good.
Count now 2-0.
Not sure what happened to the video right there. Haven't seen that. The 2-0 pitch. That's in for a called strike.
Looked like a breaking ball on that one.
Now, what did you think in real time? Safe or out, Nick?
I think they got the right call.
I agree.
It's very, very close, but I think the right call was made on that play.
I agree with you. Great minds think alike is what they say. I think they got him by half a step. Caesar takes away for ball 3. So I mentioned before, Caesar, the only one to pick up a hit on Tuesday night, now has a chance to reach base as the first Cornwall base runner.
This is the 3rd straight Cornwall batter that's got it into a 3-ball count, so they are doing a good job early on with the pitch count.
And Caesar took a healthy cut at that last pitch.
It's now 17 pitches for Eisenstein, so this will be number 18 coming up.
Interesting take in the live chat. John thought that they weren't upset about the call. They were upset by a lack of hustle. Didn't catch that on the replay, thanks in part to the video glitch. I was following the ball in live action. As that swung on and missed, throw goes to first in time. And, Nick, you could actually get the view of that play from a different camera. So go from solely the wide angle as we head to break, and we'll see if we can spot anything else on that play. The video should not glitch on the secondary shot. So while Nick works his magic, I will step off headset, and we will send you to break with one more look at that play over at first base. No score through 1 from Great Kills.
East Coast Trophies and Awards has been serving your awards needs since 1986 and is now a proud sponsor of the PDF Sports Network. From sports-specific trophies and plaques to corporate and business promotions and gifts, East Coast Trophies and Awards is your one-stop shop for all of your crowning achievements, and they always meet the right price. Contact Chris today at 848-223-7071 or visit them at www.eastcoastawards.com.
And we are back from Great Kills, where Krish Sudd will lead off for Plainview. Sud, 1 for 2 with a walk and an RBI. That was back on Tuesday against Maine Endwell.
Quickly finds himself in a 2-strike hold.
0-2 pitch, misses outside. Sud also had 2 hits on Monday. And he takes outside, so immediately 2-strike count becomes a 2-2 count. Not an easy first inning for either pitcher. Both had to throw quite a few pitches. I believe it was 18 and 15. 15 not all too bad. 18 a bit more concerning. As that misses for ball 4.
Nice at bat from down 0-2 to work it to full at 3-2 and then get a leadoff walk.
And you hate to let those batters turn into walks. When you get ahead 0-2, certainly are looking to put the hitter away in those spots, and instead, Lant loses Sud to a walk. That pitch misses low. Count 1-0 on Brandon Eisenstein, the starting pitcher for Plainview. And he looks at a strike. Comes the 1-1. That's fouled straight back. Another 2-strike count here. The 1-2 coming up to Eisenstein. And that misses.
Didn't miss by much on that one.
Well, now you're in a position here where a miss results in another 3-ball count. And then as a hitter, you're in the driver's seat. And that's exactly what happens as that pitch got away, but not far enough for Sud to try it.
So now another 3-2 count early on in this second inning. So Plainview try to make the pitch count go up after a 15-pitch first inning.
Comes the payoff pitch, and that is swung on and missed for strike 3. Third strikeout of the game for Hunter Lant, and he sets down his counterpart swinging for out number 1.
Well, he needed that strikeout big time. If he did not get the strikeout, it would have been first and second with nobody out. Got him to chase on a high fastball for the first out of the inning.
1 away now, and Jake Davidson will come to bat. And Davidson takes low. They check on Sud over at first, and he's back in.
That could be a dangerous play, Joe. If that ball goes into the outfield, that allows the runner to get into scoring position.
We learn something new every couple of innings from the chat. Nick, do you know what the red flag is for in the umpire's back pocket?
Does it have to do something with challenging?
No.
Okay.
If the runner leaves early,
that
flag is thrown. I did not know that.
Okay.
That last pitch was number 29 for Hunter Lant, and that prompts a conference at the mound.
Was quickly behind 2-0 in this count. Has had 2 straight full count at bats. So he really does need to figure out something here. Double play ball, of course, gets you out of the inning relatively, but he needs to first find the strike zone and try to force something maybe into play or try to get a strikeout. But this is a good time for a mound visit. Just try to get the confidence back in your pitcher and try to assure that things will be all right.
And we've said, boy, they could really use a double play here so many times. And we've only seen it that one time when you brought it up. And
Harrison Smith.
Was it 6-6-3?
It was a 1-4-3, I believe.
That's not even close.
No. Went right back to Harrison.
Oh, back to the pitcher.
Yep.
I thought we saw another one that you had called ahead of time. As that pitch will miss for ball 3. So now, Lant in danger of losing another batter to a walk. A walk here would be his second of the inning.
And for Cornwall, you got to wonder how long of a leash do you have on your pitcher? Because obviously you don't want this game to get out of hand. You need to win by a certain amount. So it could lead to a pitching change potentially very soon if we were to walk here.
Nobody getting warm yet. And that's a called strike on the outside corner. Davidson at the plate looking for his first hit of pool play. If you're Lantier, you have to attack in this spot. And that misses high.
Well, his first strikeout of the inning, he got the batter to chase on a high fastball, tried to make him do it again there. Did not work to his advantage. So now we have first and second, one out. And the first RBI opportunity of this game. Can Plainview take advantage?
Austin Carrieri, the batter now. Carrieri officially 1 for 3 with a run scored in pool play. He takes outside. There are 2 teams for which I've covered every game so far in pool play. Plainview and South Shore. Covered all 3 of their games. Gotten a bit more familiar with their rosters than the rest. And Plainview played 2 games that looked completely different from one another on Monday and then on Tuesday. And it's really tough to gauge, having never seen them play before this week. Are they closer to the team we saw in Game 1, the team we saw in Game 2, or somewhere in between? We just don't know.
And I think you're going to maybe potentially see that team maybe in between in this game. And I think that's exactly what they want to see.
And that's ripped into the glove of Caesar, who nearly turned that into a triple play, but there was 1 out in the inning. So the inning is over. Now, he continued the play.
He did.
But I think everyone else was aware how many outs there were. His teammates were jogging off the field. I promise I was aware too, as we head to the home second inning. Cornwall and Plainview scoreless. And we are back from Great Kills Little League. Still no score as we head to the bottom half of inning number 2. And Nick, let's get one more look at that double play.
That's a big double play for Cornwall right there to get out of the jam. Nice catch at short by Caesar. He's able to step on the bag.
Well, Nick, I apologize. I cut you off mid-sentence as our audio was cut. We had a spectator speaking to us, and I wanted to make sure I got that information regarding correct name pronunciations. We did go to all of the coaches for the pronunciations, but even then, there were some errors. Chris Sood wears number 20 for Plainview, getting the start at shortstop. Wanted to make sure we have that correct the rest of the way. Isn't that what I said, Nick? Number 20, the shortstop?
Yeah.
Why were you pointing? I was very confused. I was baffled. We're back.
Okay.
It's a 1-0 count, and the pitch is on its way as that's ripped through the left side for a base hit. And the leadoff man is on for Cornwall as they have their first hit of the game. And the pitcher, Hunter Lant, helps his own cause with a leadoff single.
Good job by Lant right there to get that leadoff single, their first hit of the game. And now Cornwall looking to get the first run of this game and try to make this a chance to give them an opportunity to get into that semifinal.
Kieran Purcell will be the batter. Eisenstein comes set, and time is called. And we've seen that several times already from these Cornwall hitters. They have called time when Eisenstein was just about ready to deliver the ball, but he's taking some long looks in.
Sometimes frustrates a pitcher when stuff like that happens.
Well, that has to be frustrating. I'd be frustrated. No question.
Looks like Purcell was potentially showing bunt on that one, so I'm curious to see if he does it here.
Well, they need to win by several runs, and I'd be a bit surprised to see them play small ball. So that swung on and missed. Oh, 0-2 the count. Eisenstein comes set. 0-2 on its way. That misses low. They throw behind the runner at first. Not in time. That pitch misses low. Did he deliver the ball?
Did not deliver the ball.
Oh.
I knew something was up.
So did I. Thought I saw the catcher digging for the baseball. That's hit off the screen behind home plate. Well, Nick, I have to say, the pace of this game, not nearly what we've seen in the other games. Eisenstein takes his time on the mound.
There's a lot on the line in this game, Joe. You have to take as much time as you can.
That's chopped toward the right side. Diving stop at second, and the throw is in time.
And they almost got a double play, Joe.
Nate Davidson from his knees as the throw comes into third. That gets away. And Lant, after just avoiding the double play, is into third base safely.
So now Cornwall has a runner on third after all of that, and they will have one away. But we almost saw a very unconventional double play throughout that entire ordeal.
Great effort on the play to get one out on that one. Not enough for the double play. Davidson with the diving stop. And Lant turns what was nearly a double play into advancing 2 bases from first to third. And now the go-ahead run stands at third base with just 1 out. And a big opportunity coming up at the plate right here for Brendan Dwyer.
Do not want to blow an opportunity to bring home runs, especially when that is one of the tiebreakers in this scenario where you're trying to get the team you're facing forcing their runs allowed high. So Cornwall needs to take advantage right here and bring home that run to go up 1-0 early on.
Big opportunity here for Dwyer. Putting the ball in play might be enough if he can hit it to the right side. Dwyer was 0 for 2 the other night. He was one of only 5 hitters for Cornwall to get 2 at-bats in that game. And that's chopped down the line foul. One ball and 2 strikes. Eisenstein with another very long look in, and time is called. Well, Nick, the first game was done in about, I'd say, an hour and 15 minutes. Wouldn't be surprised if this game goes 2 hours and 15 minutes at least. And that's sliced through the left side for a base hit. And the game's first run comes in to score. It's an RBI single for Brendan Dwyer, and he gets Cornwall on the board first. It's 1-0.
It's big-time situations like this, so you want to make your best at-bats, and Dwyer delivers right there with an RBI single. Cornwall on the board first. They lead this one 1-0.
Well, Nick, they had the opportunity to get an out at second on Lant. Throw got away, and that allowed him to take third base. And ultimately, that proves costly. Still a chance. That run can be unearned. The throwing error allowed Lant to advance to third base after he initially thought about it, and that's bunted to third. And I'm a bit surprised they bunted, Nick.
I saw it earlier in the inning. They were looking at bunt. It does put the runner in score position, but you do give up the out. So now there's 2 away with the runner on second. Single could potentially bring home the run. Sterling Hayes will have that opportunity to do so, but I agree with you, Joe. With the scenario like this and where you have to win by a certain amount of runs, I'm curious to see if it will pay off for Cornwall.
My guess is that Van Dam is an accomplished bunter, and because they weren't playing him all the way in, he decided to lay one down in an attempt to pick up a hit. That would be my guess. I doubt you sacrificed there, but officially on a scorecard, that likely goes down as a sacrifice bunt, and if it was indeed a sacrifice, which I doubt, that's a huge show of confidence in Sterling Hayes, who gets a chance here to make this a 2-run game. Cornwall needs all the runs they can get.
Exactly, Joe.
That's in for a strike, and the count evens up at 1. Credit on that play over at third as well to the third baseman for Plainview, Grayson Bugatti. He had to charge that bunt pretty hard, made a strong throw right on the money to first as Hayes falls behind. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We've seen a lot of good defense overall in this tournament. And a lot of good plays at third base for the most part of it we've seen in this tournament. We saw a couple good plays in the first game from South Shore. Now we'll see if the defense will continue to go the way as this game goes on.
Well, Nick, we have lightning in the area.
I saw that earlier.
That is certainly lightning in the area.
Couldn't tell if that was a camera flash or that. Okay.
Certainly lightning.
So that'll be something we'll have to look out for.
Now, the lightning appeared to be in the distance as that sliced foul. And staying alive is Hayes now.
And it is a beautiful night here, too.
Lightning alone won't knock us off as long as the game is going on.
Right.
We'll be here. But we cannot take much rain.
Right.
We do have a cover over our MacBook, which is operating the stream. But should it start raining, we'd have to cut our production down, probably by a camera. We'd have to cover our audio, go commercial-free, and hope the rain passes quickly, because I don't think the cover could handle too much. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs in the home second inning. Cornwall looking to make it a 2-run game, and that might do it as that's it up the middle for a base hit. Dwyer is being waved home. Throw to the plate. Gets away. And Hayes moves up to second. It's an RBI single for Sterling Hayes, and Cornwall leads it 2-0.
Cornwall's making this one interesting, Joe. A big-time RBI double right there, or maybe an RBI single in advance of the throw. So however you want to score that one. But nonetheless, Cornwall is going to take it. They get now a 2-0 lead on the RBI hit, and they've got to be feeling really good right now with the way this game's gone.
Well, Nick, what were we saying about that bunt?
It was effective.
It certainly worked out. It certainly worked out.
So we're going to miss there for the first strike. Here's a second look at that RBI single. Big hit up the middle. And just great base running overall by Cornwall right there to bring home that run.
Well, I think what the bunt came down to is what I said before. Third baseman not playing all the way in. So they took the chance. They did not get a base runner out of it. However, they do end up getting the runner over to second, and of course the base hit drives him in.
And again, another single could bring home another run as they have a runner once again in scoring position.
That's a good observation by the live chat. The way Eisenstein delivers, he does fall off to the left. So if you bunt it to the right of Eisenstein, to the left of the mound, there's an opening there. But the ball was just bunted a bit too hard. That misses away.
That's now 40 pitches for Eisenstein.
His pitch count is getting up there. Eisenstein comes set and delivers outside. Ball 3. Another full count. And how about these at-bats from Cornwall in this game?
We talked about Cornwall need their best efforts overall offensively, and they're doing really good overall in these first 2 innings.
Comes the payoff pitch. And just getting a piece to stay alive there on that swing was the batter, Cosgrove. Cosgrove, a left-handed hitter. Got just 1 at bat on Tuesday. 0 for 1 at the plate. Looking to make it a big 1 for 1 right here. And that breaking ball catches the outside corner for a called strike 3. A big strikeout there for Eisenstein. And we will head to break with Cornwall leading 2-0 over Plainview. The home team needs a 4-run victory. They're halfway there in terms of run production. And we are back from Great Kills Little League. As we mentioned at the top of the show, Cornwall would need to win by at least 4 runs in this game. They now lead it by 2 runs as they put up a pair in the bottom half of the 2nd inning. 3 hits in the game already for the home team, and the pressure now squarely upon Plainview. If they don't win this game, there's a chance they might not make it to the semifinal round. So Plainview will look to get the bats going here in the top half of the 3rd inning. Still plenty of time left in this game as Plainview will send 9, 10, and 11 to the plate.
Keep in mind, Joe, that Cornwall still has some work to do in this game. Yes, the lead right now is 2-0, but they still have to win by a certain amount. So there's still work to be done for this team.
Pitch from Lant, misses down and in, and he's quickly behind. 3 balls and no strikes on Grayson Bugatti.
So Lant in the last inning had some command issues early on. Not a good start here. That's
a 4-pitch walk. If you're going to issue a walk, it's best you do it on 4 pitches, but I say it all the time, you never want to walk a batter to lead off an inning.
Now you bring the tying run to the plate. Going to spark a conference at the mound with all the Cornwall players. And again, it's all simple. You're trying to give your pitcher some confidence right now after a walk like that. We are seeing some action up in the Cornwall bullpen, so it's very possible that we could see a pitching change very soon, maybe after this batter. Looks like that's Sterling Davis that is warming up for Cornwall.
Both pitchers up over 40 pitches in this game. At the plate now, Nate Davidson behind 0-1. Davidson walked twice in Tuesday's game. As he lays down a bunt, it's a good one down the first baseline. Barehand flip, not in time from Lott. Close play at first, a great effort by the Cornwall pitcher. He did all he could, but that was just a perfect bunt by Davidson.
He gave it his best effort, but that was a well-executed bunt. How about that, Joe? That's back-to-back innings where a bunt maybe potentially could be a huge factor in this game. Now first and second for Plainview, nobody out.
That was a great bunt down the line. Marcos Sagrafos, the batter. And he takes inside for ball 1.
Yeah, if you're Cornwall, this is a scenario where you got to get out of the inning because they cannot afford to give up runs here and give Plainview an opportunity.
Sagrafos showing bunt, and look at the respect they are showing for that bunt. Over at first base, playing all the way in, was the first baseman, Cosgrove.
Would not be surprised to see him show it again.
That sails up and away. Do you think the threat of a potential bunt throws you off your rhythm as the pitcher in this spot?
I think with how so far the inning has gone for him, I think it could. You see the first baseman creep it in.
There's a swing and a miss.
Well, now the bunt is off. So that's a good thing for Lont here. He's now a strike away from the first out of the inning.
And there's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Big strikeout for Hunter Lont. And there's now one away in the inning.
Really needed that one after giving up the walk and the single. Now, a double play ball away from getting out of the inning.
John Bronagius, the extra hitter. Plainview at the plate here. And there's a swing and a miss. It's 3 straight swinging strikes.
That's what you want to see out of your pitcher. Get some confidence as this game goes on with this big pressure situation.
That misses low as a lot of Cornwall fans were groaning there.
Second time already. But we would never criticize umpires.
We would not. We have our own umpire in the live chat tonight, Sports Nut Nick.
We do.
Word on the street is that he's an umpire. He wants to know how the food is, but he could not be further from the press box. 3-1 the count now. And all of a sudden, Lont in danger of losing Bronagius here. Got ahead 0-1. And that misses down and away for ball 4. And Nick, the wind is picking up just a bit, and lightning continues to flash in the air back behind home plate.
Now, that's something we're going to have to look into as this game goes. But now think of this situation, Joe. You got bases loaded. There's 1 out. We talked about a double play ball, obviously, is tremendous. Gets you out of the inning. But if you're Plainview, a single could tie this game. So a lot of scenarios going into this at-bat. Lont wants to get back after walking his second batter of the inning. We'll see if that conference with his teammates certainly helps him get out of it.
2 walks, as you mentioned, a bunt single, and the bases are now loaded.
Gets the lefty-lefty matchup here.
Murad Omarzai, the 13th place hitter in the lineup for Plainview, with a huge opportunity here as Cornwall brings their infield about halfway in.
They're looking for that double play ball.
Middle infielders halfway as well. If there's any question about it, they'll probably go home with this ball. And we've spoken about it already. The margin of victory matters greatly to them in this game. As that's tapped right back to the mound. Throwing home is Lont in time as he lost his footing. And a throw goes to third. The runner never advanced. The inning is over.
They got the double play ball.
The runner at second stayed put. And I think the runner, Davidson, believed that the ball was caught on a line. That will do it.
We might have to look at this at multiple angles.
Wow.
Now.
He must have had a bad angle from behind the pitcher. It was clear that ball bounced.
So here's the first out. I'll go to a different camera angle for the second out. So obviously,
I can see what he saw. He didn't see the bounce.
He did not. And then you'll see from our wide angle,
John Bronagius was wondering why he didn't advance. You could see it. Bronagius was approaching second base, and he was shocked that Davidson didn't run ahead of him. And we have thunder, Nick.
I hear it now.
Though that might be a motorcycle.
That was a motorcycle. That was a motorcycle.
That is indeed a motorcycle. Good to know. And on replay, it looked like that ball may have been caught on a line. We could see from here that it certainly did bounce.
Like I said, it's just a tough break right there for Plainview. And now you can only hope that you can bounce back from that mistake with still 3 innings to go in this game.
Time called again here as Luke Van Sickle will lead off for Cornwall. Bottom half of the third. That pitch is fouled back.
Now, where does that motorcycle incident rank up as some of our top mishaps.
Well, considering that left and right have eluded me for much of the week, I think
it's the hot air.
I'll blame whatever I can. Now I'm going to go back to calling games behind home plate perhaps later this year, early next year, and I'll be making the same mistake again. It's a mistake I'd never made before this week. As that pitch gets away to the backstop, and Eisenstein is now behind 2-1 on Van Sickle.
Cornwall looking to add to their lead after escaping that bases-loaded jam in the top of the inning. Currently up in this one 2-0.
Sliced foul.
Eisenstein now at 46 pitches here in the bottom of the third inning. So he is definitely up there right now in terms of pitch count. As for Lant, he is now at 58, Joe, after that last half inning.
That's up there.
I would not be surprised if Cornwall makes a pitching change in the next inning. But we'll see. There's a strikeout to start off the bottom of the third.
Strikeout swinging to open up the home third. Now, Nick, I might be surprised if they take him out because I think he's already thrown enough pitches where they can't use him again Friday or Saturday.
Right.
We had those totals. I have them saved here somewhere.
I believe it was 85.
Well, 85, I think you have to rest 5 days.
Oh, right.
But if you have to rest 3 days for, let's say, 50-plus, then he's done. He's already thrown that many.
Well, I spoke about it earlier. This is essentially a type of an MLB wildcard game. You have to just go all out at this rate, and whatever you can use potentially for another game, you have to do what you can.
He's done, Nick. He's thrown 51 to 65. He's finished.
Now,
so you can leave him in this game.
The question would be, Joe, how long would you keep him in?
As long as he's effective. As long as he's effective, I'd keep him in. This is TJ Santiago at the plate right now, behind 0-2, but you have nothing to lose if you're Cornwall here. Lant is already finished for the rest of this championship, so you might as well pitch him as long as he's effective in this game, up to 85 pitches. We've seen both pitchers frustrated for different reasons in this game. Eisenstein a bit frustrated with himself after missing with that pitch.
Especially with the way the last inning went for him, too.
And then Lant, we saw, was getting a bit exasperated out there on the mound in the previous inning. But to Lant's credit, he found a way out of it, and he was heavily involved in that double play.
Well, we talked about it earlier. I mean, the amount of stake that is in this game, frustration is going to be shown, and these kids want to go out here and win.
That's chopped to third, and that gets through the third baseman on that play. That ball handcuffed Bugatti. He made a great play earlier on the bunt. And I don't think he had much of a choice, Nick. He had to wait for that hop, and then the ball handcuffed him on the way up.
Yeah, just a tough play for him right there. Not able to record it, and it's going to allow Cornwall to get a runner on first with one away.
That will probably go down as an E5, though he had to wait. It was going to be a close play at first. He definitely could not have charged that ball any harder. And that ball is smoked right at second, stopped on the backhand, throw to first, not in time. Another great play by Davidson at second base. What a stop. And he nearly jump-started a double play.
That would have been an incredible double play for Plainview right there. That was ripped to second base. And now there is two away. Almost an unbelievable 4-6-3 double play right there.
So Ruhan reaches on the fielder's choice. Santiago was forced out at second. And did we have time called again?
We did.
See, now, when I'm filling out my scorecard, that's how I potentially can miss pitches. And we've seen time called so many times that when the catcher is down out of his crouch with his glove on the dirt, I thought he just caught a ball.
Would you say time is of the essence right now, Joe?
I would say time is my enemy right now. Pitch on its way from Eisenstein, and that's hit hard to short. And that handcuffs the shortstop. Throw goes to second, not in time, as Sood couldn't handle that short hop. Another tough play That will go down as an E6. You think?
I think I would mark that as a hit.
It was hit hard.
That was a tough bounce.
But he was squarely in front of the ball.
Second baseman, Finn Merrill.
That one perhaps a bit of a tougher play than the previous one. Would you agree on that?
100%.
So the first one you'd give an error. That one you think you'd give a hit?
I would give that a hit.
Okay. Now Cornwall is the home team, so the official score
They'll be happy with me.
lies with them typically. Of course, this is a neutral site game, but I think the first one was an error. That one could go either way.
Took a bad bounce towards the end of it. He was squared up, but once it got to him, that's when the bounce happened.
Count quickly. 0-2 here on Finn Merrill.
And if you're Plainview, you got to get out of the inning because a hit into the gap could give Cornwall that 4-run lead, and they are looking to have that lead.
Oh, they would love that. A base hit into the gap. Can't ask for any more than that right now if you're the home team. That's chopped toward the middle. Hit slowly. Sood steps on second, and that will retire the side. Cornwall strands 2 in the home third inning. They maintain a 2-0 lead as we move ahead to inning number 4. Well, as you see on your screen, quick scoring change coming out of that last inning. We have scored it officially, E6 on that ball to short. Nick and I disagreed on it. We spoke about it, viewed the replay during the break, and came to the conclusion that squarely in front of it, that hop wasn't tough enough to rule that one a base hit. So, though the ball was hit hard, shortstop in position, E6.
As we said, it's tough from the wide angle to look at it. You were right. He had the glove down and was ready to make the play. Unfortunately, it looked like I thought initially there was maybe a bounce or something towards it. So at the end of the day, it is an E6. Second error for Plainview, but they do get out of the inning unscathed. It's still 2-0 as we now head to the top of the fourth.
First pitch of the fourth inning, fouled back. Top of the order for Plainview. Micah Farber, the batter. Farber, 0 for 1 at the plate. Tapped one back to the mound his first time up. And that ball is smoked through the left side for a base hit. And Plainview has the leadoff man on here in the fourth.
Farber just ripped that one into left field, past the diving Caesar right there for a leadoff single to bring the tying run now to the plate for Plainview.
That's 60 pitches now for Hunter Lant. At the plate, Evan Frangus. Frangus has had a very nice week at the plate. Mentioned a couple of doubles on Tuesday, was intentionally walked, and officially went 0 for 1 on Monday. Ahead of him, Farber has also swung the bat very well. Couple of doubles, one in each of the first 2 games. Now a single as that's hit to short. Booted by Caesar, and initially it looked like he had a play at second, but was getting ready to throw to first, and with that, he lost the play.
Just a tough play for Caesar right there. Took a bad hop off of him. Wanted to throw it to first base. I think he would have had the out at second, Joe, so unfortunately, that's going to go down as an error.
He certainly had the out at second. And you have to think that before that ball's hit to you, if you're aware of the runner on first, your first instinct is get that ball to second base.
That one fouled off behind the plate.
Luke Kakuza at the plate here. Kakuza 3 for 3 on Tuesday night. Struck out his first time up tonight. Pitch on its way, and that's hit well. Out to right center field, and that was cut off in the gap, but it hits off the glove of Van Dam. 1 run in to score. Stopping at third is Frangus. The runner's headed for second as that ball got away, and it's an RBI single for Luke Kakuza. The tying run stands at third. The go-ahead run in scoring position at second.
And now Plainview back into this game, Joe, with that RBI single. They now have second and third as the runner from first advanced on the throw. They're right back into this game, and it's been a rough inning so far for Cornwall.
Getting a glove on that in the gap was Van Dam. He saved a run.
He did.
If he doesn't get a glove on that, he saves a run. And Nick, he just thanked us from center field. He is probably 10 feet in front of us as that's popped up on the infield and gloved by the pitcher, Lant. Caesar had to slide out of the way. It's short, and that's a big out.
A huge out for Cornwall right there. If they're able to get out of this inning, Joe, and allow just that 1 run, that would be very big for them.
Well, Nick, I think they're in a position right now where they can't afford to give up a hit. If they give up a hit and 2 runs come in to score, that puts them in a really tough spot. As we mentioned before, they have to win by multiple runs. That pitch in for a strike to Chris Sood. Sood walked his first time up. Ahead of him, Noah Fernandez was retired on 1 pitch. That was the pop-up back to the pitcher. And now Sood is quickly in a 2-strike hole. If Lant could pick up this strikeout, that would be massive. That breaking ball misses low. The Cornwall infield certainly not going to concede a run here. And that's slapped foul just out of the reach of the first baseman, Cosgrove.
Would have been big if Cosgrove was able to make that play right there to record the second out. Still, though, 1 strike away from getting that second out is Lant.
Lant delivers, down and in. Now, there's no doubt that you want to avoid a bases loaded situation as a pitcher, especially with the threat of potentially walking a batter, but a force at any base doesn't kill you here, Nick.
I was going to answer that question, Joe. I was trying to see what situation is going on right now with Plainview. Is there an equipment issue with the bat?
Not sure. Looks like they are swapping the bat.
Well, while that goes down, it looks like I'm going to take a look over my shoulder. It's now 72 pitches for Lant here in this top of the 4th inning. So he's trying his best, Joe, to get out of this inning, as it looks like this definitely will be his last inning of work.
Well, if they do choose to send him out for 1 more, he can exceed 85 pitches to complete an at-bat. Now, personally, if I'm putting a new pitcher in the game, I'd like to give him a clean inning. So I'm inclined to say that if it were my decision, and you know you have to use another pitcher anyway, I would pull Lant after this inning, because it looks like at most you're going to get 1 batter out of him. If you're lucky, 2. But we'll see what happens.
Well, now he loads the bases here with that walk, so pressure is on for Lant.
Well, I said a walk wouldn't be the worst thing. He was ahead 0-2, so the walk might sting a bit more in that regard. But this gives your infield a chance to move back, and you hate to face a hitter like Brandon Eisenstein with the bases loaded, but I think the force all around is a chance worth taking, as that swung on and missed.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, and I see kind of maybe the infielders moving in a little bit. If they go to home again, trying to turn the double play, as they're trying to prevent a run from coming in.
That's foul back. Also, the force at any base looms a bit larger with just 1 out in the inning. Another 2-strike count. Huge pitch upcoming for Lant. And that just missed.
And there was one Cornwall spectator that was really not happy with that call.
There were some that were unhappy, one who was very unhappy.
Very vocal.
Count now even, 2 balls and 2 strikes, and very quickly, Nick, Lant is climbing up toward 85 pitches. There is action in the bullpen. That's fouled away again. Back and forth battle between Lant and these hitters.
Looks like that's Luke Van Sickle up in the Cornwall bullpen.
He also pitched the other night. And that's it well out to center. But Eisenstein didn't get all of it. Play at the plate coming here. And into scores Frangus. Sacrifice fly ties the game as Brandon Eisenstein comes through with the RBI sac fly. Not a bad effort on the throw from center field, but Frangus with too much speed. And we are now up at 2.
A brand new ball game here on that sacrifice fly, as it was just deep enough to bring home that second run for Plainview. We're now tied at 2.
Well, don't look now, Nick, but Maine Endwell is hoping for runs, and more runs.
A lot of runs.
A lot of runs. They understand that Plainview had to score a few in this one, and we're now in the second half of this game, but I'm sure
if you're a Plainview fan, you would love a home run right here.
Despite the long odds, you know Maine Endwell still watching intently nonetheless. Plainview hoping to get out of here with a win and move on, as that's fouled back. And now Jake Davidson is behind 0-2. And Nick, 3 straight batters have gone behind in a 2-strike hole, and we'll see if Davidson can get on as well.
Lant has been able to get strikeouts in this game, but he's also gotten into trouble despite that 2-strike count. So let's see if he can get that third pitch strike here to end the inning and keep it a game tied at 2.
This is pitch number 82 for Lant. And that misses.
You don't necessarily hate a type of pitch like that, trying to force the batter to chase at something. Has a chance to do it again here on 1-2, but you don't want to lose the batter after. So let's see how he attacks him here.
One ball and 2 strikes the count on Jake Davidson. He fights off another one foul, and Nick, the at-bats from Plainview in this inning have been excellent. They have not gone down easily. They haven't chased pitches out of the strike zone, and they've made Lant work all the way up now to 83 pitches. If he does not get an out on this next pitch, he is finished following this batter. Two and two now. And this will be Hunter Lant's final batter.
They'll look to make an emphatic out right here.
Another full count.
Once again, down 0-2, and Plainview has forced a full count.
Lant has just been unable to put hitters away on 0-2. Can't get them to chase. Good disciplined at-bats. That's fouled away.
Count still 3-2 right here. There's Lant still looking to get that third pitch strike and get himself out of this jam while keeping the game tied.
Payoff pitch on its way once again. And that is outside for ball 4. The inning continues and the bases are now loaded again.
Cornwall faithful once again, Joe, not happy with that call, including some of the players in the field. And that's going to be it for Lant now, as now he hopes that the bullpen can get him out of this jam and keep the game tied.
Well, you know the players in the field for Cornwall probably feel their pitchers getting squeezed a bit. And Hunter Lant has now thrown 87 pitches. He's done, as he has exceeded the 85 pitch threshold. So while we have a pitching change, Nick and I will step aside and take a quick break. When we come back, Plainview looking to take the lead. We are knotted up at 2. Well, Nick, our first game was a sprint. This one, much more of a marathon. We are knotted up at 2, still playing in the top half of the 4th. We saw some very, very long innings on Tuesday night. Game 1 absolutely flew earlier tonight as South Shore picked up a lopsided win to advance to the semifinals. They know their opponent, and they know that they are playing at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Both of these teams still hoping for a chance to play in our 12:30 game against East Greenbush Castleton.
As well as Maine Enwell, they're still also looking to find out what their situation is going to be right now. But an unfortunate break for Cornwall. It looked like they got it out of the inning on that last pitch, but just a little bit on the outside corner for ball 4 to now load the bases here with 2 away. Game now tied at 2 apiece. And Plainview one big hit away from opening this game up and taking an opportunity to control their own destiny.
It's remarkable, Nick, how many 0-2 counts we've seen in this game, specifically in this inning. And those have turned into more lengthy at-bats where the batter, in several occasions, has drawn a walk. And that's impressive hitting. We've seen a lot of good pitching this week.
A lot of good discipline in this game.
We've seen some high-scoring games as well. And our early game, obviously, was one of those. This game's still knotted up at 2. It's been a good back-and-forth game, but that's not the kind of game Cornwall is looking for.
Cornwall still needs to win by a certain amount of runs, Joe. So them having the 2-0 lead, they felt in a good spot. Now, by giving up those 2 runs, now they go back to square one. And they need to get out of this inning, or else it's going to get further and further away from them.
We are set to resume action. New pitcher for Cornwall, Luke Van Sickle in the game. His first pitch is swung on and missed by Austin Carrieri. He's behind 0-1. 8th man to bat in the inning for Plainview. And that is smoked into left field for an extra base hit. That rolls to the base of the wall. 1 run in to score, 2 runs in to score, and it's a 2 RBI double for Austin Carrieri. Plainview has taken a 4-2 lead.
Carrieri with a big time hit right there. 5th hit of the game for Plainview. It brings home 2 and now gives them a 4-2 lead here in the top of the 4th inning. What a big rally they've had.
What a big hit for Plainview, and that could be the base hit that propels them into the semifinal round. Huge extra base hit, as that's hit well to left, but also well foul off the netting. Grayson Bugatti at the plate here. Bugatti walked his first time up.
After this next pitch, I'll give you a replay of that double. Biggest hit of the game so far.
That ball was smoked into the left field corner. No chance out there to get a glove on that ball and keep it from reaching the wall. And now, looks like time has been called down on the field. As Van Sickle comes set and delivers. And that misses for ball 1.
Quick look at the replay right here. You can see just got all of that one into left field for that 2-run double to give Plainview that 4-2 lead.
Great camera work, Nick.
Trying my best.
Now, if you want to make your job just a bit easier, once the ball is thrown in, just switch the camera back. And you can readjust ahead of the next at-bat. I can talk quite a bit, so I'll give you some time.
Roger that.
So that's chopped foul. That's the product of a 2-man crew doing the job of a 4-man crew.
We'll have a 4-man crew tomorrow, though.
We will. 4-man crew for the semifinal and the final, which means that our secondary camera, when the ball is put in play, will be much closer to the action as that ball was hit hard, but right at the left fielder, Ruhan, to retire the side. So Plainview jumps in front by a pair, a 4 spot in the inning for the visitors, as they are now 9 outs away from a berth in the semifinal round. Cornwall hopes to have something to say about that when we come back. We are back from Great Kills Little League on Staten Island, where Plainview Little League has taken the lead over Cornwall. Our score now 4-2 after a big top half of the fourth for the visitors.
Plainview now in the driver's seat, Joe, to potentially get into that semifinal. Cornwall had the 2-0 lead and needed just 2 runs potentially to get there. Now, after that 4-run inning, Plainview is now in the driver's seat to get to the semifinal. Cornwall will have to do a lot more than they needed going into that previous half inning. Now trailing by 2, they need some big-time hits here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
We thought we knew what needed to happen for Plainview to make the semifinal round. Outside of them just winning outright, Plainview winning outright is the most simple path for any team to the semifinal. And right now, they are taking care of business, leading 4-2. And for Cornwall, things got incredibly more difficult with that 4 spot by Plainview. They needed to win this game by at least 4 runs. And winning by 4 would give them a tie with Plainview in the runs allowed column. However, I think Plainview would win that tiebreaker. But still, so much to be sorted out if we ended up in that 3-way tie situation. Plainview can make all of that moot with a win here tonight. As that pitch is sliced foul. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Tyler Moss. And Nick, I know you saw it. Looks like the Lightning's getting closer.
I actually didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
I was looking at the monitor, so I did not get a glimpse of it. So
I'm mildly concerned, but I think we're far enough along in this game where we're going to be okay. One and 2 pitch coming, and that skips to the backstop. Now, for Plainview here, working in the 4th inning, Brandon Eisenstein is at 63 pitches. You would love it if he could get you through the 4th and the 5th.
If he can get you some quick innings in this inning and the 5th inning, that would be huge for Plainview. But again, credit to Cornwall right now. They've now forced the count full at 3-2 to try to get Eisenstein's pitch count once again high and get a leadoff runner on to bring the tying run to the plate.
We've seen this time and time again, Nick. Counting this at bat was 1 and 2. And that breaking ball bends around the inside corner for ball 4. The walks, the hit batters. It just seems that every time we see one of those occurrences, something comes of it. The free bases and free base runners have proven to be crucial in most of the games that haven't ended as the result of a mercy rule. And there's a wild pitch. As the runner takes second, Moss moves up a base. And now Cornwall has a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Second straight batter, Joe, that Cornwall has shown bunt. So, looking to once again play small ball to try to bring or get a runner on base. And it's going to lead to now a conference at the mound as Eisenstein on that last pitch did not really have good command on it. So you're hoping that he could find that zone in this at bat. And this time, Joe, I saw the Lightning.
Yeah, and it's moving in.
That one was bad.
It's moving in our direction. So as long as it doesn't rain, we're okay. The players have just seen it. Now, I don't know what the protocol would be for Lightning in the area. Typically, in the major leagues, there is a protocol where if the Lightning is a certain number of miles out, then they have to suspend the game.
I will say this. You always want to say, the quote in term is play under the lights. Those are the type of lights, Joe, you do not want to be playing under.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. As there is action in the Plainview bullpen following that mound visit. Noah Fernandez warming up for Plainview. This is pitch number 67 for Brandon Eisenstein, and that misses outside. Moss headed for third. And he is just in there. And Nick, what a chance to take in that spot. Wow.
When your season on the line, you have to take risk like that, and Moss took it right there. That's
great. Do you, though, with nobody out in scoring position?
Not most of the time, but your season's getting desperate. You have to do desperate things, and sometimes stuff like that has to happen. So now you have a runner at third base with nobody out.
And I'll tell you, if there's a reason to do that, it's the threat of Lightning moving in. Because who knows what happens if this game ends up suspended.
Right.
And Cornwall
We are through 3 innings of
has
6.
not yet taken the lead. Now, we're told the lightning radius is 7 miles. And a half an hour delay is required after a strike in that radius. Thank you for that information, Liz. Now, at what point in the game does it become official? I would guess through 4.
That would be my assumption, but
4 full, I would guess.
I believe in MLB in a 9-inning game, it's 7 innings, correct? Or 6?
It's either 6 or 7, and I can't believe I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer either.
It's been too long. That misses down and away. Well, Nick, we have another full count.
Another one.
Well, if you're Eisenstein, you cannot lose Caesar to a walk here. And Caesar chases way out of the zone, but that gets to the backstop, and Moss will score. That goes down on the scorecard as a strikeout, but Caesar reaches on the wild pitch. That one bounced well short of the catcher, and we now have a 4-3 ball game.
That's a wacky situation right there, and it works in Cornwall's advantage, Joe. They now make this a 1-run game, and they get the runner at first base.
Official in MLB is 5 innings, Nick.
Okay.
I'm ashamed for not knowing that. It's been too long. Thankfully, I haven't attended a rain-delayed game in quite some time.
We had an issue with the Yankees-Mets game earlier, where that game was delayed for the first half hour.
Worked out in our favor, ultimately. Though we did get soaked.
And I got sick.
That, too.
That was a not the best day for me. And the Yankees lost, so it really wasn't the best day for me.
As a Phillies fan, I would have been perfectly okay with a Yankees win. But the Mets will be looking up at Philadelphia the rest of the way anyway. As that pitch misses, Caesar strays off first base, and boy, that was close.
That you can't be taking risk on. You took a risk earlier in the inning. Can't be doing it right there. But Joe, you're playing a dangerous game with the Mets fans that might be in this chat.
We're coming off a World Series berth. As Lant goes down swinging, and they throw behind Caesar again. And he's very nonchalantly cruising back to first.
Caesar is playing a dangerous game right now, but he has not gotten out, so to his credit, it hasn't, gone against him, but he needs to be very careful.
Well, if you're Cornwall in this inning, you have to think you probably need a run or 2 more. They've gotten 1 back. And that gets to the backstop now. That looked like it was off the catcher's glove. So we'll mark that down as a passed ball.
Cornwall taking advantage of some wild pitches and passed balls in this inning. Can they do it again and tie this game?
This inning could realistically be over already. If the putout is completed first, Caesar is out. If the throw to third beats the runner, he is out, and then we have our 3 outs. That was a very close play at third. It paid off. So that's fouled away. If Moss isn't on third, he hasn't scored yet. There's at least one person in the chat who's a Mets fan. And that's taken for a called strike 3. And Purcell knew it, as there are 2 gone.
Huge punch out right there from Eisenstein to get the second out of this inning, and now 1 out away from keeping his team up 1 run going into the top of the 5th.
Brendan Dwyer, the batter.
And time called at the plate. See that a lot, too.
We have seen that plenty tonight.
Eisenstein with that last punch out now is at 79 pitches, so this would be his last inning.
He could open the next inning if they so choose, but he'd have to get a quick out here.
I would tend to believe that Cornwall is not going to swing early and try to make him work so that this is his last batter.
Cornwall needs a base hit here. That's what they need. Count evened up.
Now
1 ball and
81.
1 strike. Dwyer singled home a run his last time up. Could do so again right here as that gets away. Caesar moves up to third.
And now a single would bring home that tying run. So now you have an essential opportunity. If you got the single while he was at second, you maybe could get the run. But now with him being at third, you have a way better chance.
Well, Nick, in the inning, I have 5 wild pitches and a passed ball. We have no hits and just the 1 walk to open up the inning.
A wacky inning.
If there was any way to open the door for Cornwall, this was it.
They've got to take advantage of it. Listen, Plainview is giving them the opportunity right here in this inning to come back. But for Cornwall, it still might not be enough. They still have some work to do. So with a 2-1 count and a runner on third, can they tie the game right here and make this one interesting going into the 5th?
2-1 the count now. And Dwyer slices that one foul. Well, if Eisenstein doesn't get him quickly, his night is done. He needs to get the out on this pitch, or this will be his last batter. Here comes the 2-2. And that gets away. Caesar thought about it, but he will stop at third.
And Joe, look what count we have again. Another 3-2
Caesar,
count.
did you see what he was doing there, Nick?
Caesar's playing, I told you, he's playing chess with them right now. He's trying to make them make a mistake.
Caesar was doing everything in his power to try and draw a throw to third. I think he was taking off for the plate there. As that's blooped on the infield, waiting for it at short and throwing to first in time to get
I don't
the
know about
out.
that, Joe.
Was sued. And Nick, let's get a look at it. Wow.
I for sure thought he was safe on that one.
So close.
Cornwall has had a gripe in this game from all the pitch calls, and now you have that play at first.
We're going to get a look at it right now. Let's slow it down too, Nick.
I'll do it right after this one. We'll get a second look now. So you see it takes a bounce to short. Sood makes the play.
Well, Nick, our replay is malfunctioning, Nick. I think our replay is malfunctioning.
Okay.
So we might be having video stream issues with our replay. I'm not exactly sure
Let's see
why that is. This is a better look at it now. He looks safe to me, Nick.
Yeah, it looks safe to me.
We will stay right here through the break in between innings as we head to the top of the 5th.
That's a bad break for Cornwall right there. This game could be tied at 4. And they've certainly had a lot of debates with the umpires in this game in regards to the strike zone and now that big play at first base. Big sigh of relief for Plainview, though.
No question about it, Nick. And watching that in real time, my instinct was safe, and I think the replay did more to support that than it did to counter it. So for Plainview, in the top half of the 5th, they're going to have 10, 11, and 12 due up. Davidson, Zagrafos, and Buonagius.
And again, I'm not trying to be subjective of the umpires. They're doing a great job out here tonight. But on a play like that with a lot on the line, that's a big call right there. And if you're Cornwall, you've got certainly an argument right there because I believe he was safe.
I agree with you. And again, we have the benefit of replay. I know the last replay came through cleanly. It did not look like the first replay
In real time.
output cleanly, though that might be just my cellular connection here at the ballpark. It's always tough to tell if the issue is with the connection that my phone has or if it's a video streaming issue.
Count is 1-1.
As I mentioned, Nate Davidson leading things off for Plainview as they look to add to their lead. And 7 runs total in this game. So that swung on and missed, and Davidson dropped the bat and looked to be starting toward first, but instead he'll head back to the dugout, and there's one away.
Now, Joe, if you're Cornwall in this scenario where you're down a run, you have to win by a certain amount, what can you do differently, knowing that you have 6 outs remaining in this game?
Well, I think we saw some of it in the last half inning. I think advancing on any ball that gets away is certainly a part of it. You need to make the most of your base runners. Advancing to third with a runner in scoring position and less than 2 outs, I don't think that's it. But patience has been there at the plate. They've been aggressive on the bases, and even though that may not have been the right decision in that spot, it paid off. It's the reason they scored, though we did have a wild pitch after that may have brought the run in regardless. Either way, aggressive on the base paths, patient at the plate, and they're going to have to hit a bit more. They were shut out against South Shore. They scored just twice against Maine Endwell. 3 runs in this game. And they need the bats to come alive in a big way late in this one, or their season will come to an end here at Great Kills.
Nonetheless, Joe, you got to love the competition that we're having in this game for these two teams. Knowing how much is at stake, they're putting on a great show for us here tonight.
Well, Nick, we have yet another full count here.
We do. I wonder how many that is. We should have had a tally for that.
When you're keeping a scorecard by hand while calling the game, it's sometimes tough. As Agrafos looks at a called strike 3, and there are now 2 gone in the inning. Back-to-back strikeouts now for Luke Van Sickle.
So this would be big for Cornwall if they can get a 1-2-3 inning, and then they can go into the bottom of the 5th, and they'll need a big-time inning to have themselves a chance to give themselves a spot in the semifinal.
They're going to have 7, 8, and 9 due up in their half of the 5th. However, in terms of their pitching here in this half inning, Luke Van Sickle has back-to-back strikeouts and looking to make it a quick 1-2-3 frame, as that's lined softly straight over to third base for the final out of the inning. Easy play there for Purcell, and we head to the home 5th. 4-3, Plainview over Cornwall. And we are back from Great Kills Little League on Staten Island. And Nick, you and I discussed it during the break. Something to note heading into this half inning is that Cornwall needed to win this game.
Joe, look what they're doing. They're bringing the kids back into the dugout. We were going to make that point. I think they're bringing them in for the Lightning.
So we were about to say, Nick, that Cornwall needed to win this game by at least 4 runs. Here in this half inning, they would have to go ahead by those 4 runs, or they would not be able to win by 4 runs because they're the home team. So they're batting in the bottom half of the next inning, the 6th. If they take the 1-run lead, the game is over.
They would have to win by walk-off grand slam.
Exactly.
But now,
and that's if the game is tied first.
They have to first tie it, but you're right. But like we pointed out, they have to get all their runs in this inning and have that lead going into the top of the 6th. But now it looks like we have a lightning delay.
We absolutely have a lightning delay, which means that we have to wait at least another 30 minutes. So we will await official word as to what the plan is. Now, Cornwall has to score at least 5 times in this inning to prolong their season. Now, Plainview appears to be leaving, though their equipment right now is still in the dugout, and they might just be sending the players
I think that's
inside.
what they're doing.
Now,
and you can hear it, Joe. The Thunder is starting to get a little bit closer now.
we might have to break it down, Nick. If they're going to delay this game for 30 minutes and Lightning is in the area and they felt that it was close enough to delay the game and doesn't go by feeling, they have, I'm sure, a detailed forecast upstairs. So
this time it's not a motorcycle.
if this game is going to stop, we might have to suspend the stream and then come back when the game resumes. We'll also have to relocate, and we do have a contingency plan for relocation. We actually formulated this plan yesterday on our way out of the complex. We would move beneath the deck out in left field, and we would go with a minimal setup. One camera, pitcher batter, positioned right along the fence underneath the cover of the deck, and then you and I would continue to call the game from that perspective. But the players have left the field, and the umpires are speaking to Cornwall manager Jim Cosgrove, and I'm not sure if there's any circumstance where he would agree
Now with the
to let
game
this game end. But the Lightning, we can see it. It's getting closer. So once Cosgrove has left the field and these final discussions have taken place, we'll find out what the situation is and relay that along to everyone watching. And if the decision is that this game's going to continue, we will break down and relocate. If the game is over and the rest of this game will not be played, we will sign off and let you know that as well. So what we're going to do, Nick and I are going to step off of headset. We're going to put a graphic on the screen letting everyone know that we are in a lightning delay. And when you hear the sound of our voice again, it will be to let you know what has been decided as to the future of this game. For those asking about Game 1 tomorrow, the matchup between Massapequa Coast and South Shore will be at 10 a.m. This game can only end once we reach midnight or if the rain is too substantial to play. So they have just over 2 hours to get the remainder of this game in. So, Nick, what we are going to do is figure out if we can relocate in 30 minutes, and that's what we're going to do. You and I will relocate. We'll have to end the stream and then come back when play resumes. So the game is not going to be called before 12 p.m. Nick, we will relocate and are going to sign off for now. We've officially entered a lightning delay. That began about 5 minutes ago, so they have to wait at least 25 minutes to begin this game again. If they do resume at that time, Nick and I will be here. If it's longer, we hope to rejoin you when the action resumes later tonight. Could be anywhere between now and 12 a.m. So this has been Joe Foreman alongside Nick Bavona on the call for PDF Sports Network. Lightning delay here in our final game of pool play. If the game resumes, we will come back. If not, we will return to the stream live chat and let everybody know there that this game has been called. And we are back here on the PDF Sports Network from Great Kills Little League. Wanted to make sure we got you the video feed before Nick and I hopped back on headset. Had some equipment to set up, but we are back on the air. As that lightning delay was far shorter than we expected, Nick and I were preparing to relocate, and instead we were told that the action would resume at 10:04. So we wanted to make sure that we brought you all of the video, all of the sites before we got you the sounds. But Nick and I are back, and we're glad that it was brought to our attention via the live chat that no one could hear us. It lets us know that our voices are appreciated and that it's not just the video they're here for. At least that's how I'd like to believe it went. But we're back. As you saw on video, Nate Van Dam popped up to first. Sterling Hayes struck out. 2 up and 2 down against Noah Fernandez. And Nick, we spoke about it. Cornwall needed to win this game by 4 runs to advance, and obviously they can't walk off and win by 4 unless they hit a grand slam to end the game. So this was the inning where they needed to do some damage, and they do get a 2-out walk here as Michael Cosgrove will take first base.
Well, it's realistically in a lot of scenarios show now or never for Cornwall. They have to get something in this inning. There is already 2 outs, so they would need an unbelievable rally right here to give themselves a chance in the top of the 6th inning.
Cornwall with a 2-out base runner as we play on in the bottom half of the 5th. Luke Van Sickle showing bunt on that pitch. Takes out of the zone for ball 1.
You're surprised to be seeing them bunting in the last 2 batters with 2 outs already.
I think Van Sickle was taking all the way there. I think he's taking all the way here too. Though, I'll tell you, Nick, the way he's leaning over the plate with that bunt squared up, I'm not so sure.
Let's see if they do it again. They are showing the bunt again on 2-0.
That misses outside and off the glove of the catcher, allowing Cosgrove to advance. So there have to be in this game, Nick, a combination of probably, I'd say, 10 to 15 wild pitches and pass balls.
It would be only fitting now if this 3-0 count now gets the full at 3-2. And it will not, as there's
another
4.
one.
And we saw
actually, I had to scratch that one off. I thought the runner would go, and Cosgrove held up. He did not go.
And we saw in the last inning for Cornwall, they did not have a hit in that inning, and they were able to get a run due to the amount of wild pitches and pass balls. So they took advantage of the mistakes on the mound. They're trying to do it again here after back-to-back walks. If they can get another runner on, that could spell doom potentially for Plainview.
Well, Nick, if Cornwall could somehow manufacture a run or 2 here, this game gets a little more interesting. A little bit. How much power do they have on their roster to try and hit a home run and walk it off without winning the game by just 1? And if you took the lead in this half inning, that pretty much closes the book on you. Plainview could lose on purpose. Plainview could lose on purpose, and they move on.
Yeah,
they wouldn't do that.
They would not.
But they could. They certainly could. What an interesting scenario that would be. You're in a position where you could lose the game intentionally and move on.
And once again, bunt being shown. And you gotta think with the way the last couple of pitches have been, it's really getting to the mindset. There's a strike there to make it now 2-1.
This is TJ Santiago at the plate. Reached on an error in his first at bat. For those who are asking, it did not rain. We thought it might, as that's ripped up the middle for a base hit. Cosgrove is held at third base.
That was smart.
And that was smart. That absolutely was smart. If you're Cornwall here, you probably need to take a multi-run lead in this inning and hope that lead reaches 4.
Now,
that's what you have to hope for. It's your only chance.
If you wanted a scenario where you want to be up 4 runs, this is the scenario. The worst thing that actually could happen, Joe, is them hitting a grand slam right here. You keep getting hits or getting some walks could bring home those runs that they need. So if they're able to take advantage of that, they could have that 4-run lead potentially. This is a big-time spot right here for both of these teams.
Wouldn't a grand slam be something right now, and they fail to advance because of runs allowed by a single run? Now, remember, if what we saw earlier in the chat was accurate, we have to factor out the games that were played against South Shore because we would have the 3-way tie. So those games get factored out. However, Cornwall lost to South Shore by 13. And what was our final earlier? 13 as well?
13-1.
13-1. So Maine Endwell lost to South Shore by 12. So if we had a 3-way tie, factoring out the game against South Shore, it's of the greatest benefit to Cornwall since they lost by the most runs. Get what I'm saying? So the
lots of process in, but
the
yes.
3-way tie, which again we need plenty to happen, but I think it would decrease the amount of runs that Cornwall needed to win by slightly. No, it wouldn't because Plainview lost by 10. It would actually increase it by 1.
Nonetheless, Cornwall needs a big hit right here.
Actually, that game's factored out, so there's no question Cornwall needs a big hit.
Right.
There's no question Cornwall needs a big hit. In fact, what I should have said is that Plainview losing by 10 and Cornwall losing by 13, that shifts the differential 3 runs to the favor of Cornwall. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
Which would mean they have to make up on Plainview 3 fewer runs, which means they have to win the game by 1, no?
I'm not a math major, so.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah. Now a 2-2 count here, so 1 strike away from getting out of the jam unscathed and keeping this a 1-run lead for Plainview.
Well, I appreciate you carrying the at-bat, Nick, because I'm doing math right now, standing up at the commentary desk. Time is called.
This is a high-pressure situation here with a 2-2 count. You know, 1 big hit right here.
That's fouled back. So, Nick, if my math is correct, and I believe it is, should we end up in a 3-way tie? I think Cornwall only needs to win this game by 1 if you factor out the South Shore game, though we're being told that's not how it works. So what we saw in the chat earlier would not have been correct. I can't believe that we haven't gotten a straight answer yet, as that swung on and missed for strike 3. Fernandez fired up.
As he
and
should
the side is retired. Cornwall strands, the bases loaded. And effectively, that ends their season, barring a walk-off grand slam with the bases loaded. We'll talk more about that when we come back. And we are back from great kills. Plainview Little League, 3 outs away from advancing to the semifinal round. And Nick, we're done trying to figure out what would happen if Cornwall wins this game.
Tap
by
it
any
out.
amount. We have tapped out.
Tapped out.
We have tapped out. The last 3 days, we've probably gotten, I'd say, 4 or 5 different answers to this question. At one point, we were told straight runs allowed. Then we were told run ratio. Then we were told run ratio, if it's a 3-way tie, of course, run ratio factors. And if it's a 2-way tie head-to-head. These are, of course, 3-way tie scenarios, which we're facing tonight, should Cornwall win this game. But nonetheless, we've been told many different things by several different people, and we have tapped out. So if you're a fan of Plainview. You're hoping they close out this game and win. Fans of Cornwall would love to see a walk-off win in the 9th inning. That would get them into the win column in pool play. Might not be enough to advance them, but it might be enough. We don't know. It might be.
Question that everyone is looking to answer.
Well, I'll tell you this. A lot of people have given their perspective regarding the answer to this question, and they've all had different answers. No one has given me a straight answer, and I've asked a lot of people. We've been trying. So the last inning came to an end with the strikeout. That stranded the bases loaded. And now Plainview is looking for some insurance in the top half of the 6th inning.
And they'll do it against Brendan Dwyer, who's now coming in to pitch for Cornwall. Got a little tickle in my throat, Joe. It's been a rough week for me.
If my scorecard is still accurate, which it might not be, I do believe it is, we have 13-1-2 due up, and that is indeed the case as Murad Marzai draws a leadoff walk. He's on for the first time in this game.
If you're Plainview, you could really use some insurance runs right now going into that bottom of the 6th inning.
That's in for a strike to Micah Farber. Singleton scored back in the 4th. And that 4th inning, Nick, was the inning where this game shifted in the direction of Plainview. They scored 4 times in that inning. And they are trying to hold on to a 1-run advantage as we play in the final inning. That misses outside. Count 2 balls and 1 strike on the Plainview right fielder. And that is ripped into left, played on a hop out in left field. Armazai will move up to second, and he nearly had an opportunity to take third after that throw got away. Throw came in from right field from Dwyer and skipped toward first base. It was backed up nicely, and Plainview now has 2 on with nobody out.
This is what Plainview needs right now. First and second, nobody out, looking to add to their lead going into the bottom half of the inning and try to seal this one up.
Well, if there's one team that doesn't want to hear anything about tiebreakers, it's Plainview. I don't want to hear the word tiebreaker again for at least another year of coverage. Won't have to worry about that tomorrow. Certainly won't have to worry about that on Saturday. 2 days of coverage left. We're here tomorrow, 10 a.m. South Shore takes on Massapequa Coast. And then East Greenbush Castleton will take on whoever it may be that advances out of our pool. Looks like the runner over at first. Farber's tying his cleat. Evan Frangus at the plate. 1 for 2 in this game, but reached on an error and scored in the 4th. And that misses out of the zone. Count now 2-1. And that sails high. And now we are 1 pitch away from seeing the bases loaded.
And for Cornwall, they cannot afford that to happen, so.
Well, I mistakenly said that Brendan Dwyer was in right field. Nick, he's pitching, so I missed the pitching change.
I pointed that out.
You did. That's what happens when
you were doing all your math. It was okay.
I have a good excuse then. That's the second walk of the inning.
Now loads the bases here with nobody out, so this is a dangerous spot for Cornwall right now. This game could get out of reach with one big swing.
Earlier in the game, Kakuza at the plate right now. Luke Kakuza had an RBI single, advanced to second on the throw. Ultimately came around to score. 0-1 the count on the Plainview starting left fielder. That's popped up, foul territory. And Cosgrove had room, but it hit off his glove. Big opportunity there to pick up the first out. And the wind certainly did not help on that play.
The wind and that fence definitely did not give him enough breathing room right there to make that catch. Had an opportunity right there, could not snag it down.
That pitch misses high.
You're hoping if you're Cornwall, you could just get the out and now look back at that one. So count now going to 1-2.
And that's hit to the left side. Caesar coming home, spikes the throw, but it's scooped. What a play behind the plate to save a run as Tyler Moss was able to pick that one off the turf. And there are now, I should say there is now one out, as I almost forgot that pop-up in foul territory was dropped. One away in the inning, but a huge first out nonetheless.
Great scoop at home plate. That just saved a run, saved Cornwall a lot right there as they get the first out of this inning.
Huge first out. And if Cornwall could escape this inning without allowing a run, you have to think that gives them a lot of momentum heading into the home half of the sixth.
And that's all you could ask for going into that bottom of the sixth, because essentially it could be their last inning of the season.
And that's hit well deep to center. Forget it. Long gone. That lands 5 feet to our right. And Nick, we have seen yet another grand slam. This time it's Noah Fernandez clearing the bases, and Plainview extends their lead to 5. It's now 8-3.
Well, we saw Fernandez pitching in that last inning, getting a big strikeout with the bases loaded to end it. This time around, Joe, he's got bases loaded for himself, and he potentially puts the exclamation point on this game with a grand slam, giving his team now an 8-3 lead.
What a blast by Noah Fernandez, and he may get a chance to close this game out as well in the next half inning. As that ball was crushed, it landed right next to us, Nick, just outside the fence.
Almost a souvenir ball for us.
If I had the glove, I could have made an attempt scaling that fence to our right. I wanted one badly during the home run derby yesterday.
I can only imagine.
Conference at the mound as they had a word with Dwyer. He remains in the game. And the bunt attempt is bunted straight down, foul.
Man,
Well, let's assume this score holds, Nick. That sets up a matchup between Plainview and East Greenbush Castleton. That game would be played tomorrow at 12:30. Really didn't get a chance to talk about the matchups much, and we'll certainly discuss them again tomorrow, but what are your thoughts on that matchup? We haven't seen East Greenbush Castleton in a couple of days, but they got a very well-pitched game on Monday that I may or may not have had an influence over, and speaking a no-hitter out of existence, but we won't talk about that.
You've had a number of influences on him.
A very well-pitched game is what I'll say, and they were able to come away with the win. Then they had that rally in extra innings as that sliced to right. It's down for a hit. It gets by in left field as Van Sickle lost track of it. And that will result in a runner on second. Chris Sood slides in with the double, though I think that will probably go down as a single E9 and right. As there's no question that would have went as a single otherwise, but a base hit nonetheless. Sood has reached base 3 times in this game. He's walked twice and is now on with the single.
And
Good night at the plate for him.
That last play, Joe, we had a sacrifice bunt to the pitcher, so a 1-3 put out right there to record the second out of the inning. Runner does advance to third base. And Joe, I'm being told, did you say left field again?
I probably did.
Okay.
I actually definitely did. I definitely did.
Okay, I didn't notice it, so it wasn't me. There was a certain someone that pointed it out. I think you know who.
Yeah. As that's bunted through the legs of the pitcher, Dwyer. However,
Runner did not come
The
home.
runner held third, so are they ruling that a foul ball? Perhaps the batter contacted it out of the box? Doesn't look that way as Davidson stays put at first, so I guess that's
I would rule out an error.
E1?
Yeah, I guess so.
That was such an odd play.
This has been an odd
Did you
game.
replay it?
I have it.
Let's look at it, especially on the non-live feed.
And we have perfect time to do it now with this visit
Let's
at
see.
the mound. Right through
Yeah,
the legs.
E1. Very unusual looking play.
Now, going back to your earlier question, Joe, we were talking about the matchups for tomorrow. And I believe you asked me about Plainview versus EGC and what that matchup could look like. If you're Plainview, you've got to like what your offense has done these last couple of games. Obviously, the first game against South Shore did not go their way. But since then, they got 8 runs in their second game. Now 8 again here tonight. They've got some momentum going into that game. EGC has been a tough team to score against, only allowing the 8 runs so far in this tournament. They are 3-0 as well. They've had some good pitching. But if you're Plainview, you've got to like what you've seen from your offense these last 2 games. And it gives you some kind of hope going into that game tomorrow that maybe if they can continue this offensive, slot that they've been in these last 2 games, that they have a realistic shot of going to the finals.
Well, I'll tell you something, Nick. EGC obviously went 3-0. I mentioned the very well-pitched game on Monday. They had the comeback in extra innings on Tuesday and then picked up the win today to solidify their spot in the next round. But Plainview lost to South Shore, a team that has done so much damage against all 3 teams in this pool. They would not have to face them again until the final. We don't know if EGC is going to be as much of an offensive juggernaut as South Shore has been in their respective pool. EGC's had some good wins, but they have not mercy ruled 3 teams straight. And there's a big difference between what South Shore has done and what EGC has done going 3-0. Now, again, we weren't familiar with these teams entering the week. One might say that EGC was in a tougher pool. One might say South Shore had easier matchups. But regardless of what you think, South Shore, mercy rule victories, 3 straight games. EGC also 3-0. But people might just be sleeping on Plainview. They've hit pretty well in the last 2 games. They've now scored 8 runs in consecutive games with a chance for more here in this half inning.
I mean, when you go from 1 run to 16 runs in their next 2, and they still have a chance for more, Joe, with first and third and still 2 outs. So, like I said, Plainview's got a lot of momentum going into this tomorrow if the score holds up the way it is. And you've got to like the momentum. That's all you could ask for, getting some momentum going in to that semifinal and potential final. So, if you're a fan of Plainview, you've got to like what you've seen from your team these last 2 games.
And if you're South Shore, we spoke about it the other day. We actually were made aware this morning that the teams that come out of each respective pool in first place would play the second place team from the other pool. If you're South Shore, you've had great success against your own pool. That has to give you confidence going to the matchup with Massapequa Coast. But boy, the way you performed against your own pool these last 4 days, 3 games over the last 4 days, you would have loved another chance to play the team that ultimately emerges as the second place finisher. Instead, they'll play a Massapequa Coast team that a lot of people feel could have been well on their way to a championship, as that's looked at for a called strike 3. And very quickly, the inning is over. Nice job to get that quick strikeout. I believe the new pitcher that I neglected to announce into the game was Nate Van Dam, who took over. Nick, you might be able to correct me on that one. Nonetheless, this half inning is over. We head to the home 6th. Plainview over Cornwall by 5. Our score, 8-3.
So why not stand up, stretch, and signal to take
And we are back here from Great Kills Little League as the Mission Impossible theme plays, Nick. Question is it still possible for Cornwall to come back in this game? They trail by 5, bottom half of the 6th. Plainview appears well on their way to a spot in the semifinals.
Well, Joe, if we bring that up, we're going to have to bring up the tiebreaker again. I know you don't want to bring that up, so
we're not using that word again.
So I won't get into that, but Cornwall, it would take an arm and a leg for them to have an opportunity to they would have to force extras, obviously. But listen, at the end of the day, with an 0-2 record, you would think that they wouldn't have had a chance in this game tonight to be in this spot that they were, and they had the opportunity. They played. They fought all night to try to win this game. Unfortunately, it's just gotten away from them as these last later innings have happened.
Ryan Ruhan leading things off for Cornwall in the home half of the 6th. Reached on an error as that's hit to short. Sood has it, throw to first in time. 1 away in the inning, and Nick, it's kind of comical looking back at it now as we begin to close in on the end of our pool play coverage. The amount of time we spent discussing tiebreakers and potential scenarios that could play out following this last game. It's the most straightforward scenario possible. Plainview wins and they move on. But early in this game, it was 2-0 Cornwall, so you have to think that fan base was a bit energized and that some of our viewers were starting to try and do the calculations themselves as to what could happen.
And listen, like we said, we appreciate everyone's help in trying to help us figure out what those potential scenarios are, whether they were correct or not. But overall, it has been a great week so far at pool play, Joe. And now we have 2 semifinal games tomorrow, final on Saturday. We are in shape for what could be a great weekend.
Certainly going to be an exciting one tomorrow. As we have 2 days of coverage left. That swung on and missed by Finn Merrill. The putout is complete at first base. 2 away in the inning. Cornwall down to their final out.
Plainview 1 out away from a nice celebration tonight. But they have an early morning or early afternoon tomorrow, Joe. So not do too much celebrating as they have a showdown with EGC potentially tomorrow. Which I say potentially, but I try to give Cornwall some hope with still 1 out.
That's our job as the broadcasters, to keep every possibility on the table.
It's never over until the final out is recorded.
It's the job of the broadcaster to keep all the options on the table. It's the job of the chat and the comments section and the keyboard warriors at home to make bold declarations, though. We get a lot of that on Sports Talk Television today. It's whoever makes the boldest declaration, has the hottest take, gets the most views, whether or not the take makes any sense. That's just my opinion.
Potentially watching ESPN First Take, but yeah. That's what I interpret.
I hardly watch any TV. I spend more hours calling sports than I do watching television.
Good. That's
no question.
Just keep it that way. It's not good. Not good.
And that's taken by Tyler Moss for a strike. The count even at 2.
Cornwall down to their final strike of the season right here.
Should mention as well that we did have a pitching change. John Bonagius into the game, and he misses low.
Count now full at 3-2, Joe. How fitting, with 1 out to go, that we have another full count.
What's one more full count?
Maybe one more wild pitch. Nope.
That's chopped through the left side for a base hit, and Cornwall stays alive as Tyler Moss delivers a 2-out single.
Well, if you're Cornwall, put those rally caps on with 2 away. You got a runner on first. You'll need a lot more than that, though, if you're going to have any chance. So let's see if they can continue the inning and prolong this game just a little bit more.
They're going to need the rally caps, the rally socks. I'll give them my rally headband.
What was that, the rally mantis with the Angels a couple years ago?
The rally monkey in L.A.?
That was what it was, the rally monkey.
The rally, you got rally mantis from rally monkey?
There was a mantis, though.
Really?
There was an MLB team, I think, that had a rally mantis. I thought it was the Angels. Maybe it wasn't.
I feel like the A's did that.
Very possible.
I could be completely
I'm sure
wrong.
someone in chat will potentially know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure there was a rally mantis.
The A's need all the help they can get.
Well, yeah.
As that's lined back up the middle for a base hit. Moving to second is Moss, and Sage Caesar is on with a 2-out hit.
Back-to-back hits here with 2 away for Cornwall. Now first and second, trying to keep the game going. It'll be Hunter Lant coming up.
That's now 6 hits in the game for Cornwall. Plainview with 8. We have 5 errors in this game. And that's in stark contrast to what we've seen all week. A lot of good defense in the majority of the games we've covered. Some of the more outlandish plays and unusual plays have come on the bases. Pitch on its way, and that's swung on and missed. And once again, Cornwall down to their final strike.
Once again, Plainview a strike away from moving on. Can they get the final strike right here?
Bonagius delivers high and to the backstop, and
there it is, Joe.
There it is. I almost said there it is, Joe, repeating what you said.
Talking in the third person?
That would have been a bit unusual, but that's another wild pitch.
Well, this has been an unusual game.
The 1-2 coming. That's fought off foul. Good fight here by Hunter Lant. He got the start. Pitched pretty well. Through the maximum number of allowed pitches as he looks at that pitch outside.
Like I said, you've got to love the fight in Cornwall. Despite being down to the last out, still in this game and not giving up until the final out is recorded. Now 2-2 count here.
That's up and away.
Another full count, Joe.
Nick, wouldn't it be something if they loaded the bases with the previous score?
I don't know what you do in that scenario. That would have been fun to call.
I think we would have seen the biggest hacks that we've seen all week. And there's a swing and a miss, strike 3. And that will send Plainview Little League to the semifinals of the 2023 New York State Little League Baseball Championship. John Bonagius closes the door, and behind a pair of big innings, both 4-run innings, punctuated by a Noah Fernandez grand slam, Plainview has picked up the win they needed, and they are in to tomorrow's semifinal. They will take on East Greenbush Castleton Little League in our second game of the day at 12:30.
Well, it took a while to get here, Joe, but Plainview does get the most important win they've had all season, winning this one by the final of 8-3. And now they go into this game tomorrow with EGC with a lot of momentum. The offense is now clicking after the first game against South Shore. They've scored 16 runs these last 2 games. You've got to like what they've been doing these last 2 games. Now let's see what they do tomorrow against EGC. But we're in store for 2 really good games tomorrow.
No question about it, Nick. And before we sign off, we'll talk very quickly about those 2 games. We touched on the second matchup a bit, Plainview and EGC. Let's shift our attention over to the other matchup. Dave and Andrew have covered the other pool each of the last couple of days. You and I have been following this pod of 4 teams with South Shore and, of course, the 2 teams out on the field along with Maine Endwell. But we got to look at EGC. We got to look at Massapequa Coast on that first night. What stood out to you for Massapequa Coast?
I think for Massapequa Coast, you have to look at what they've done overall in this tournament. And, yes, they did have a couple scares in this, but overall, you saw what they did today, that 15-run performance, and that's what you have to look about in going into this game tomorrow against South Shore. South Shore has been dominant throughout pool play. 3 straight Mercy Rule wins, and they look like a juggernaut. But if there was any team to give them a problem tomorrow, it's Massapequa Coast. So I think if you are Massapequa Coast, you've got to keep it close. You need some good pitching, which they've had for most of this tournament, and they have to keep the bats going, which they've also had for most of this tournament. So I think overall, that game is going to be, in a lot of people's views, the game of the day. But either way, both the games will be huge, obviously, with deciding who will be making the finals this upcoming Saturday.
Now, how many runs are you looking for in that game? Those 2 teams have both had 13-plus run performances so far.
We could see an offensive shootout in that one. It's very possible. But we could also see a very good pitching matchup. Those 2 teams have not been terrible, especially South Shore, in this tournament when it comes to pitching. So we could have either scenario happen.
The last couple of games, those 2 teams have combined to score 28 runs. Massapequa Coast, 15 earlier today. South Shore, 13. You know that means we're getting a pitcher's duel tomorrow. You just know it. So Joe Stradamus has spoken.
Law of averages.
Law of averages is right. So once again, we will be back on the air right here at Great Kills Little League tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Our first game of the day features South Shore Little League taking on Massapequa Coast. Our second game features the just advanced Plainview Little League squad. They will head to the semifinal round for a meeting with East Greenbush Castleton Little League. That game gets underway at 12:30. Until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside Nick Bavona for the PDF Sports Network. Nick and I will be back here tomorrow alongside our colleague Andrew Rotundo. 3-man crew on the headset tomorrow ahead of our 2 games. And, of course, David Pizzuto back as our engineer tomorrow as well. We thank them for all they've done for us here on PDF this week. We will all be with you tomorrow. Be sure to tune in at 10 a.m.